So here's Michael Phelps. And he's got to be wondering how he got here. 1 second before that image, Jason Lezak touched the wall in the greatest relay in Olympic history. Hi, Nora, how are you? 10 seconds earlier, maybe not even that, 5. Nobody thought it was possible. How did the impossible become possible? And if that's not enough, is this the greatest sports teammate moment in history? Oh!
Sing it with me. I mean, isn't it an earworm? Anthony Joseph Paul Reali, great to see you.
We have a show, people! What is happening? Where have you been all my life? Look at you! You're magnificent. The waiting drove me mad. You're finally here and I'm a mess. I don't even know. I just walked into a studio. The studio was here. I don't know if to sit down, to stand. Should I stand up for this show? Look at this. Yes. This is Real Deal with Tony Reali. Why are we Real Deal with Tony Reali? Well, we'll get to that at some point, I guess. Because we are going to be real in this show. And we are going to talk about some moments in sports. I'm going to sit down. How about that? Can I get you guys something? Water? Coffee? I mean, Shvuyadel? You haven't even touched your Shvuyadel. What are you doing here? Water. We're going to work on water, right? I want a sommelier going through this water. You know, I only drink coffee and water, nothing else, you know? That's okay. But I mean, Aquapana. I mean, we're in the sponsorship game now. I love an Aquapana. That's pretty good. Jura coffee. You know, that's the good stuff. Let's do a show here. It's been a year, guys. Of all the years I've had, this was one of them. What have I been up to? You want to start with that? Let's unpack some of that. First off, I worked on Being Still. And you could ask me, how's that going? You know, not well, Tone, not well. Being still is something I'm still learning how to be. And that wasn't because I thought I was going to be the type of person. I said goodbye on one show, I'd be doing the next show the next day. And every fiber of my being wanted that to be the case too. And this is when I decided to listen to other people in my life. And I'm so grateful I did. Because inside Ray Liotta here, I have 37 shows to launch. This is the first one. This one goes well, the next 36 will be free. My CEO, Sammy over there, is saying, no, we won't be doing that. Nothing's free. Okay, good. That's a good reminder as well. But yeah, I have a lot of ideas. And you know what I did? I took some time to think about, you know, people are like, oh, how's the job search going? I wasn't searching for a job, looking high and low for a job. What I was looking for was myself. But I was looking for was, how is the job invention going? I want to invent the next show. That's how I was operating in my head. Just knowing who I am as a person, as a tinkerer or a creative. And then what was the last year like? Learning a lot about a new industry. Because I felt digital was the next frontier, and this is what you're seeing right now. It was a challenge for someone like myself. It hurts to lose something you love, and I wanted to sit in that for a little bit, right? Which is not to say I want a masochistic, well, please hurt me. No, that's not a good thing, but it is a real thing. It's a full thing, and I want to be honest to what those feelings are because I wanted to then kind of whittle that into something I could use going forward, which I hope to do in this show. Real Deal with Tony Reali. You know, I don't think I ever really said the name of the show out loud like that. You know, you read it up there. You just saw the I blew the budget on Spacehog, my friends. That song is called In the Meantime. For me, it's got one of the great earworms, the hooks. I just said sports earworms, you know. How it came to be our theme song is for me, an origin story that I'll share right now. I used to sing that song on set for Horn and PTI to warm up my voice. That's how that came to me. Warm me up. Ooh, was how I would warm up my voice. And now I'm building the next show, and I'm like, you know what? Let me send a note to Royson here at Spacehog. The bass. I love a band that the bassist is the composer, the lead singer. Right? That's pretty great. And it's got that boogie bass that he's got. It's got the drums that I want. It ends on a piano, which is I play the drums and piano. Long story to tell you that this was a song that was already in my life, but I'm like, you know what? It's got the beat, the buoyancy. This is gonna be a warm show. This is a nostalgia show, all right? Because I miss nostalgia. Nobody does nostalgia like they used to do nostalgia. And I hope to do a little bit of that on this show where we talk about some of the great moments you remember and that you're always happy to see. And that's what this is. This show starts with an image, as we just saw. It was Michael Phelps. Look at Michael Phelps here. How could you not have this image in my phone? And I send it to people when we're celebrating. Maybe, of course, right? Oh, look at us. And I love the celebration because he doesn't know what to do with his hands. I don't know what to do with my hands either. I bumped into this microphone like 6 times. Over here. Is it over here? Steven Tyler type situation here with the microphone, or who was all up here? It was Lemmy when he was playing bass and he was doing this. I like this image because it's about celebration, but that's not what this image is to me when I see it. It's not why I keep it in my phone, honestly, and it's not why I rewatch the moment that this image is about. This is a show about moments, and for me, I know precisely what this image is. This is Michael Phelps celebrating Jason Lezak out-touching Alain Bernard at the wall in the greatest comeback and the greatest relay in sports history. 2008 Beijing Games, 100-meter free, and the relay that enabled, and why the camera was focused on Phelps, to proceed on his impossible dream of getting 8 gold medals. But much more impossible was how Lezak came back in this race to win. And I think it's an amazing story and teammates. And I have a sneaking suspicion there's a couple other things at play, which I'll unlock, I hope, with our guest today. But for me, this one picture, and there's a couple more, I got more pictures here. I got a picture. Picture times with Tony. All right, this one, the fingers. Woohoo, right? For me, is not just about Phelps, and it's not just about, it's about teammates, right? And I just asked the question, I'm gonna ask it right now here. Is it the greatest teammate moment in history? And that kind of is an odd question to say about a sport. I don't even think it's a team sport. And the relay, of course, is the most team thing you can do. But is it the greatest? So I would love to do something here. Real deal top 5. And I would love music again, but again, the budget completely on Spacehog. We're gonna work on that. I'll have to construct my own music here. So here we go. The real deal top 5 greatest sports teammates moments in history. Number 6, Bush Push. Reggie Bush. Oh man, to live back in this time. Notre Dame versus USC. This was the biggest game in the college football calendar this year. I bet you if you went back and looked at the TV ratings, it was one of the 100 most watched shows. It was the college football game, the Red Sox. It was such a great game, a goal line here. And this is when Reggie Bush gets behind Matt Leinart, a teammate, not involved in the play, but pushing Matt Leinart. And it worked because the alliteration of Bush Push, or the rhyme. And it worked because it launched, Reggie Bush pushed Tush. So the Tush Push could run and walk, or whatever the expression I've lost already, is in the NFL. And that's taken over our lives for the last 5-10 years. Number 6 was Bush Push. Number 5, Wycheck to Dyson, Music City Miracle. Can't put to words how awesome this play was, seeing happen in real time here. Playoff game, Tennessee versus Buffalo. Bills about to win it. Oof. Look at it's the construction of the play. It's the actual pass from Wycheck that is so on the line for being a forward pass. That really gets it for me. And it led to the Music City Miracle. No flags on the field! What a great call, too. Number 4, greatest teammate moments. Bosh to Allen. Everyone remembers Ray Allen's shot. It launched Miami Heat to come back in that game versus San Antonio in Game 6, then win Game 7. This is what saved, I think, the Heat. Because if they don't win that title, you're viewing LeBron in Miami and LeBron's whole career differently. But it's Chris Bosh who gets the offensive rebound off LeBron's miss to give it to Ray Allen to make that moment happen. So we remember Ray Allen, but the moment doesn't happen without Chris Bosh. Number 3, 2004 Red Sox. This is a full team moment because you know David Ortiz rescues the Red Sox as they're about to be swept out by the Yankees with the game-winning hit. But that game-winning hit doesn't happen without a game-tying hit by Bill Miller. But that's not the teammate I'm talking about, because Bill Miller doesn't have the game-tying hit without Dave Roberts stealing second base on Mariano Rivera. But that's not the teammate I'm talking about, because Dave Roberts is in pinch running to steal that base without a teammate, Kevin Millar, the walk. I think that's the most underlooked part of the comeback in Game 4, which led to the comeback in 7 games, which led to the World Series in 2004 for the Red Sox, one of the greatest titles in sports history. Number 2, teammate moment in history, Grant Hill to Christian Laettner. Laettner shot all time. Great moment in basketball history. Grant Hill's pass gets a lot of pub and does get the moment it deserves, but it's such a good pass. It's a football pass. It's the first time you really thought about that type of pass working in basketball. It's number 2. And number 1, our topic and moment of the day, Jason Lezak and Michael Phelps. I'm walking into today's conversation and today's show, my first show, because this is a story that means something to me. It's instant tears for me when I watch this. There are many, many moments that are instant tears for me. I cry. Derek Redmond was a sprinter, and his dad came out in the middle of the Olympics when he was injured, and there's a marshal who asks him to, please, sir, get off the field. His dad was like, no, I'm gonna carry my son to the line. Instant tears for your boy. Instant tears. Mariano Rivera being taken out of the game by Andy Pettitte, and Derek Jeter in his last appearance in the majors. And you get Rivera's face, and he's recognizing this is the end. Instant tears for your boy. Many, many other. Kerry Strug, instant tears. Miracle on Ice, instant tears. I guess I could have... Those are honorable mentions for our great teammates. Kerry Strug can't be on this list because it overshadowed the entirety of the moment. And same with Miracle on Ice. There are so many instant tears, but nothing is more instant tears for me than this topic today, which I choose to be show number 1 in The Real Deal. And it is going to be Jason Lezak in the greatest teammate moment of all time, getting Michael Phelps to celebrate like this. But I will leave it up to our guest. Maybe they will dissuade me from that feeling. Maybe I will learn something about this relay, and maybe it's not a teammate moment. Maybe. Always leave yourself open to recalibrate how you feel about something. Are we ready? Are we ready for our guest? Are we ready to get the deal going here? Let's make it real. Oh, there he is! Come on, this is how we meet? You were working on ESPN, 28, 30, 40 years ago? I did it for 25 and we've never met?
I know. It's funny. I've called the NCAA. I mean, you work for ESPN. I call 2 races a year. The
that's
NCAA
also debatable how
championship.
much I worked for them.
But I've called the NCAAs now for about 37 years.
I know it. I know. Well, let me say this. My name is Anthony Joseph Paul Reali, and I am over the moon to meet you, Rowdy. Yeah.
Well, I'm Ambrose Gaines IV.
I know you are. I did research. The only thing I do is I do research on people's names because I like middle names, and I really want to actually invent a middle name. But here's what I found out. This is now. We're in this. Doesn't matter. I don't know where this is going to go today. I have one question on paper for you, and that's it. Because I think we're going to really get along. Because I always thought you were rowdy because you're a rowdy dude. And I'm a rowdy dude. And now you're telling me, no, it's because you look like a rowdy.
Tony, I don't have a middle name. Rowdy is just a nickname, right?
Yeah.
So I got it from an old television series called Rawhide. Clint Eastwood played a character called Rowdy Yates. Yeah, so my dad was liquored up one night and must have called me Rowdy.
That's the way nicknames are supposed to come. So the show is called Real Deal. And thank you for being on a show that is basically a newborn here. We have no idea, but it's called Real Deal because when I was a kid, I tried to give myself a nickname, and I said, okay, Real Deal Holyfield.
Real Deal.
So then I get to ESPN, and Kornheiser and Wilbon are like, you're going to be a sidekick on the show. We love what you're doing. All right, what's your nickname? I'm like, well, I'm Real Deal. And Kornheiser looked at me, and he said, You're not real deal. You're a stat boy. And my entire life now is built about trying to reclaim this name in my.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's so awesome.
No,
I love it.
I always thought. Here's what I love about you, Rowdy. I don't swim. All right, I know how to swim, and I specifically know how not to drown. But
Right.
I don't swim. Well, I did a triathlon, and they put the anklet bracelet on you, and I'm swimming, and I look after I finished last in the swimming portion, and I made the letter S while I was swimming. And Sam, my wife's like, "What were you doing?" I'm like, "I don't know, alligators in the water. I was serpentine, right?" It doesn't make sense. So I don't know how to swim. But what I do know is I love sports, and I love hearing announcers specifically, because I'm in it for the athletes, but I'm in it for the announcers. Oh, it's my dream is always to be an announcer. Announcers who put their heart outside their body, right? And their spirit outside them. So I just wanted to say I admire the way you put your heart outside your body when you're making a call. I think it's the most beautiful thing. And now we have the ideas, and I know your social media team is your family. It's your daughter, and I think that's amazing.
Yes.
But the Rowdy cam. Oh, the Rowdy cam. Oh, I looked so hard to see if we had the Rowdy cam for this moment. I don't think it was invented yet, but it's just so great. So thank you for that. That was a lot I just threw at you, but I genuinely have waited for a moment like this. Yeah, this show came to be because I love the moments that I can't get out of my head, right? And most of them are attached to images, right? I call them sports earworms. And this one right here is what we're talking about today. This is Michael Phelps, muscles. It's an incredible image. I send it to people when I'm like, we did it, which is great. But that's not what this moment is about for me. This moment is, and I know the sports of this, of course. This moment is about teammates. This moment is about a relay. This moment is about Jason Lezak out-touching Alain Bernard in a comeback from back when comebacks were still comebacks. Untouchable comeback, right? But it's not about just that too. It's about you, Rowdy. And I want to build my way to that. Because this makes it's instant cry. I was just saying this. It's instant cry for me when I go back and watch it. Do you go back and watch your old videos of yourself with this call specifically?
No.
I
don't like watching it.
But this one specifically, you've talked about.
This one I do watch
a
lot just because people bring it up and they did that documentary. And so
the documentary's so good.
It's the greatest race. Yeah. So, but no, normally I don't like to watch my old stuff because I cringe at it. I go, what did I say that for? So I beat myself up too much.
Well, you shouldn't, because you have done, I don't know how many hours of live TV. And it's impossible.
Dan and I added it up, and we've called about 1,500 races together, Olympic races.
Olympic races, right? And now it's a 2-year window until the next one, and it's so great. You're going back to LA, which is where it all started for you fun. as an Olympic champion yourself. And this race, is a relay, the 100 free. This is all these things point back to you. But for me, it was the spirit that you imbibe when you're calling. That is everything for me. So there's one thing I want to ask you for 20 years, but not yet, okay? That's called a TV tease right there, my friend. We do something on this show, Simply Irresistible. This is the Simply Irresistible question. It's not a big thing. It's no small thing either. I need to read it out here because I want to get this right. Well, my goal in life, let me tell you this, is to gobsmack people with sports information and sports stats. I want to stump you. I would say right now, you, my friend, are an unstumpable person in Olympic swimming and in the 100-meter free. Show us right now. Do you know what Jason Lezak swam his final split in?
46:05.
Of course you don't. Yes. And do you know how far back he was in the pool when he jumped in?
No, 8/10.
It was more like 6/10. And then I was researching here because I love doing this. What was his previous personal best in the 100 free? And this is a relay with a rolling start, so it's different. But he shaved off a second and a half. So these are all, maybe they would be simply irresistible questions, but no, I have a simply irresistible question because I think you can reason this out in some ways, or you may know it because you swam this race. But it's the most human thing I could ask for someone who's not a swimmer to ask someone who is a swimmer. So let me ask this. Jason Lezak swam the fastest relay split in history. How many strokes did it take him to do it? Ooh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, you stumped me there. I'll say.
Well, let me ask you this before you answer. Do you know when you were swimming the 100 free? Did you ever? Do swimmers count this? How many strokes you're taking?
No, but Tony, I could literally about leading up to that race for me, about 6 months beforehand, I could put a stopwatch behind my back, start the stopwatch, swim the race in my mind, and stop it within 2 or 3 tenths of a second every single time of the time I wanted to go. I wanted to go 49.5, and I was between 49.3 and 49.7 every time I stopped the watch. So it wasn't so much as the number of strokes, it was swimming the race, you know. I didn't count my strokes.
For a layman here, not in swimming, I'm thinking of it as strokes, right? I'm thinking, okay, not that he's counting, but you've done 4 years of training, you've trained your whole life. You know you get to the pool in 35 and you get back in 35. You get to the wall in 35,
Right.
35. Right? So that's quite the simply irresistible question. How many strokes did it take Jason Lezak to go 100 free in that anchor relay? Reason it out. Give me an answer. You know he did it in 46.06 if you average up that last fraction.
I would say 52.
Well, that would have been maybe with the special suit and everything. That's a little low. The answer, 63 strokes. 29
63.
on the first 50, 34 back. But there's a little bonus question. Wow. He did 63 strokes. He had to catch the great Alain Bernard, who was the world record holder. I believe I have this at the time.
Yeah.
How many strokes did Bernard do the same anchor split in?
I'll say 71.
Great guess. 76. So here's what I found out.
Unbelievable. I did not know that.
Well, there we go. Is it not? Can you not resist that simply? It's a simply irresistible question. So yeah, in a race where everything's on the line, and of course Alain Bernard's swimming as hard as he can. Of course he wants to carry his team to gold, and he has 76 strokes. And Jason Lezak, and it's not even a size difference. These are massive human beings. Bernard was 6'5".
Yeah, they're both
so it wasn't like,
huge.
okay, that's the guy who has the big stroke, and Bernard has the 13 different strokes to get into the same length in the pool. That's what Lezak did. It defies to me biology. You know, I don't even know how it's possible, but I'm going to get to that because what we have here is the impossible becoming possible.
Right.
All right, you ready for the big deal? Let's get to the big deal with Rowdy Gaines. Rowdy, I've asked you here today so we can become friends, but also so I can ask you one question. And that question is, how did it occur to you that the impossible was becoming possible? And I want to ask you that question, but not now. Again, a TV tease there here. First, this is not a question. This is a declarative sentence. Build the world for me. You're in that moment. August 11, 2008. You're in the cube. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? And now, of course, for you in your head, it's a lot about Michael Phelps, right?
Yeah, Tony. I mean, leading up to that race, I went over and over in my mind on who was going to win that race. I break down the relays every single time before any Olympics. And that one was critical. I went over it a million different ways. And buddy, every single time the French came out winners. I never put a 46 flat down though for Jason. I even gave him a 46.3 or 4, I think, on one of my scenarios, but that still ended up short, right? So, and it was such a critical race for Michael's journey. This was his third race. And we had been building this whole 8 gold medal journey up all along. And I knew that if he had failed or they had failed to win the gold, it was going to put a little bit of a damper on the rest of the swimming. I mean, 7 golds and 1 silver is pretty cool. And I knew he was going to be a huge favorite along the way, the rest of the way, but this was the diciest. And so a lot of nerves were floating around the the broadcast compound that day, just because of the fact that it was such an important race for Team USA, and even more critical in many ways for Michael.
See, that's interesting to me because you're feeling anxiety or pressure, and you're feeling that, you just said, as a broadcaster, right? Because you're trying now in your mind, you're trying to tell the story, but as we all do in telling stories, we're preparing ourselves to tell a certain story. You're not scripting things in your head, but you're preparing it. You ran through the algorithm. You were doing the win probability that I love on the bottom of my box scores now, before we were doing that. And you saw no path to victory for USA here, because historically, this was a USA's race. And then what happened a few years earlier, right? This is the famous smashing, right? And Australia took it.
Yep.
So there's background here. If you could just dip your toe in that for a second, because the background here,
Yeah.
where the USA gave this relay away. I don't want to say they gave it away. I don't mean to say it's like that.
Oh,
but it got away from the US in the last
Yes.
2 cycles.
Yep.
And it got away specifically for Lezak even. And I think
Yes.
that's fascinating.
Yeah, so that was the other huge thing. Was in 2000, that was the first time the U.S. had ever lost a
Ever.
400 free relay
Ever,
in
yeah.
Olympic history. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you thought, the whole Ian Thorpe and the guitar strumming and Gary Hall saying we're going to smash them like guitars and
Yeah.
everything. And then, and then 2004, we were the huge favorites. And in 2000, it was going to be close. But in 2004, we were the huge favorites. It didn't go our way. Don't need to go into details, but Jason was a part of that relay. And he had become this sort of journeyman sprinter. In fact, Gary Hall even called him one time a professional relay swimmer. And
was that in a complimentary way, or was that in a little? Gary Hall's a character.
No, that was a little bit of a cut, my man. That was a little bit of a cut. I mean, it was back rival. You say things that are kind of fun, but it was a cut. So Jason had felt that pain already, and I've had long conversations with all 4 of these guys over the last 15, 20 years, and I think Jason more than anybody felt the pain. Certainly more than those 3 guys. Even though Michael was part of that relay in 04, he did his part. And Jason kind of did his part too.
I mean, that's the thing with all this, right? I mean, I have covered World Series and Super Bowls and NBA Finals, but I've never covered swimming. Swimming to me is fascinating for a couple things. First off, it's an individual sport. And I would even go even bigger. It's an individual sport when somebody's head is underwater for 90% of their life. Right? And you're in your own ears hearing.
You're looking at that line.
Exactly. So there is a psychological element to that. And you just alluded to some of the personalities I would feel, and I'm saying this haphazardly, but maybe you would agree with me. Those guys, those ladies and men who run the 50 and 100 are almost the peacocks or the wide receivers, for an NFL expression, the prima donnas is a word I wouldn't use. Like Gary Hall was a rocker and all that sort of thing. And they come out with the chest pumped out. And some of the people who do the longer swims are entirely different characters altogether. But then you get a relay and you're asking an individual sport to be a team sport. And the team element, you're not helping the person. You're just giving them something to do after you're done doing it, right? It's not like you're physically.
You're only a quarter part of it.
You're a quarter part of it. So it's team, but is it really team? And I'm trying to figure that part out throughout this. And then you've got all this. So it's always fascinated me how this individual sport becomes a team sport, and then they're asking for a team to lift each other up when previously they've been competitors or just not really an assist. In basketball is I'm handing you a ball in position to win, right? This is just like, well, here's your time. You got to race the clock. You have to race Alain Bernard.
Right. And you're right, Tony. I think in most people's heads, swimming is certainly an individual sport. And in the majority of time it is, right? Maybe you go to the NCAA championships because it's a college thing. It's about team. But I will say the Olympics is a completely different animal because even though you're swimming individually, you don't want to let your country down, right? You're so obsessed about the whole Team USA or Team France or Team Russia or whatever it is. So you don't want to let your country down. And we have been, I say we because I can do it in front of you, but on the broadcast, I can't say we. I have to say Team USA or something. But we have been number one in the world of swimming for 70 years. The last time USA was not number one in the sport of swimming was 1956. So if you think about that, no other sport, no other team can claim that kind of excellence for that long. So there's a lot of pressure that's built up because of that too. So even when you're swimming individually, it is about the team. Certainly you think about, if I win a gold medal, what does it do for me? And then you compound that, dude, by the relay. And then you've got 4 guys coming together that don't want to let each other down. And more than that, you don't want to let the country down because then you're really feeling like you're letting the country down because it's a team effort. You're really swimming for Team USA.
What you told us a few minutes ago is exactly what you told the entire viewing audience, the billions of people who are viewing, or that no matter how many times I've done it, I got France here. And that's how you approach the call of this broadcast, which is, of course, your expertise.
I have to do it in what's in front of me.
Your expertise.
I can't predict Jason Lezak going 46 flat. I have to do what, based on their history and based on what they've done at this specific meet. And that's what I had to go on.
So what I love about you, and this is, you were an analyst, you are an analyst, and you observed and you did that. And what happens in the call of this race is I think, if I could put this out here and you tell me, I'm positing a theory, you stopped witnessing it, and you became part of it in some way.
No question.
And do you feel that that happens to you in every race, or is it this race?
No question.
Yeah.
No question. I am. I think so, just because I empathize with them so much because I've been there.
Been there.
I swam on 2 relays in my Olympic Games. I mean, 2 of my gold medals were on relays. So certainly when it comes to relays, I feel that empathy, sympathy,
I'm writing this down, my friend. I have a show here because for self-discovery. I'm not saying that's not in the manifesto for the show, but empathy was what I had a sneaking suspicion, and compassion was involved in this call, and I'm trying to figure out why this moment cracks me open, and I think I've gotten partly there, right there, from you, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah. It was certainly an intense moment, and again, it's the buildup, Tony. I mean, you know this more than anyone. I mean, you build something up to such a high degree because of the expectations, and there were so many expectations put on Michael going back to 2004, and the possibility of winning 8 gold medals. We kind of felt like it wasn't going to happen in 04, but there was that possibility. But in 08, it had taken a complete 180 on everybody thinking, oh my gosh, he's going to do it. I said he was going to do it in 08. I said he was not going to do it in 04.
So now you're fueling part of that pressure as well, because it's part of your job to do that. But then, I mean, here's what it is for me. I mean, another thing is you allowed yourself to live the moment, right? And be part of the race. But somehow you allowed yourself to recalibrate, which is a very hard thing to do in real time. And this is why I think this is, along with one of the greatest sporting moments, I said greatest sport image of celebration, I believe it's I think it's one of the great broadcasting moments. I come to this as a great broadcasting moment. I don't know you feel this way. I've read some of the things you've said. I've seen the documentary. I read a very, I would say, strongly worded article in the New York Times days later, commenting on a call that was wrong, or at least that implication. And I mean, maybe I'm seeing this through my own eyes of having been in front of a live microphone for so long, or having real expectations. You're not supposed to get everything. The job isn't to get everything right. The job is to react in real time. And I'm just in awe of how the reacting in real time happened and landed it in a certain way. I say that to you. You can tell me it was stuck in your craw. Did it stick in your craw?
No.
No. Good.
No.
You have thick
like
skin.
I said, I've called, 1,500, 2,000, probably 2,000 Olympic races. And I've made a lot of wrong calls before. I'm pretty good at being right on, but I've messed up plenty. So I thought it added
Me too.
to the race because there wasn't one person, Tony, when Bernard flipped at the 50, there wasn't one person in that arena or around the world that knew anything about swimming that thought Jason Lezak was going to beat him in the last 50. Nobody, including Michael. I've talked to Michael, and I've talked to Garrett Weber-Gale. I've talked to Cullen Jones. They all said, we're racing for second. Nobody thought he was going to do it. But that's the beautiful thing about sports and the beautiful thing about the human heart. I know that sounds cliche-ish and corny.
Oh, this is the show for that. Cliche me all the way to the bank. There's a humanity to this. And this is precisely why I'm doing it on the first week of my show. Because the humanity of this jumps out the page. And it from the pool and from the swimmers and also to the call. I have this question. How did it occur to you the impossible was becoming possible? But I'm not asking it yet, my friend. I want to do something here. We have a segment in this show called Call It. And I will ask some of my friends, my guests who come on this show to do something totally off the wall and call the moment we're talking about. But I will ask them to do it in a silly voice, like Shakespeare, or a WWE wrestler, or Richard Attenborough doing a nature documentary. At this moment, I'm sending you something. If you have your phone on you.
I do.
It is the transcript of your call, and I should apologize. Well, I apologize. I have not mentioned the name of the great Dan Hicks, who is equally part of this greater call, which I just nominated for the Broadcasting Hall of Fame, and conversation. Dan Hicks, NBC Olympics play-by-play man for the race, alongside.
Oh my gosh,
Rowdy
this
Gaines.
is the.
Well, I gave you the transcript for me. This is origin story Tony stuff. I want another guest to reenact, like I said, a sporting moment like it's a soap opera and do it in a voice, or AMSR and whisper the whole call like that. But we can't do, and here's Jason Lezak, and he jumps in. We can't do that for this one. I would never cheapen it for that. What I have here is an opportunity to work with a man who I admire and a call that I idolize. I would like, if it would be so empathetic and compassionate of you, to offer me a chance to be Dan Hicks. And I mean, thank you, Dan, again. I'm sorry I didn't mention your name earlier. I should have. And you be Rowdy Gaines. Can you be Rowdy Gaines for me, Rowdy?
You want me to be Rowdy Gaines, and you be Dan Hicks?
I want to be Dan Hicks. I want you to be Rowdy Gaines. I want
you got it.
Because there's a reason why I'm doing this. Because
you be Dan.
There's a moment in all this. So we are going to, for Call It today, no jokes here. We're going to call the final anchor swim here of the 2,800 free relay that we have selected as our moment. So if you are ready, Rowdy, you got the glasses on and you're ready to rip, and I'll start with Dan Hicks right here. France is taking the lead up there in lane 5 over the United States. Alain Bernard awaits as the anchor guy, and Jason Lezak is going to have to make up some ground on Alain Bernard, who stands 6'5" and can absolutely fly.
And I just don't think they can do it, Dan. I mean, Jason Lezak has been there. How many times in his career has he anchored this free relay and medley relay? But I just don't think he can do it. He's trying to ride that wave as much as possible.
Bernard is pulling away from him. Lezak.
Look at the world record line.
A 3-time Olympian. The world record is absolutely going to be shattered here. United States trying to hang on to second. They should get a silver medal. Australia is in bronze territory right now. But Lezak is closing a little bit on Bernard. Can the veteran chase him down and pull off a shocker here?
Well, there's no doubt he's tightening up.
Bernard is losing some ground. Here comes Lezak. Unbelievable at the end. He's done it. US has done it.
He did it! He did it!
A new world record.
He did it! He did it!
Phelps' hopes are alive. 46.06 split for Lezak. What a clutch fast swim when they needed it. Who's talking now? Stunned.
I think they need to use another word other than smash. Wow. That might be the most incredible relay split I've ever seen in my entire life. Not only was that the fastest in history, it blew away the fastest in history. Wow.
Rowdy, thank you so much.
That's the first time I've done that in 16, whatever it is, 18 years now. That gave me a little bit of goosebumps. You were a great Dan, by the way.
Well, thank you. I mean, Dan is a little bit lower. I had it circled in advance, and maybe you've seen that the name of this episode is Tightening Up, right? But for me, I mean, you're calling it. You're doing three things at once, Rowdy. You're an expert, and you're the witness, but also, like I said, I think you're also in the race at that moment, and you're all of us, honestly. I mean, you have to also be your audience.
That's what I've had a lot of people tell me.
But it's the moment here. There's no doubt that he's tightening up. Both.
Yeah.
I'm going to overlay these calls at some point. Because you really were in the same headspace you were then, which is just absurd that you can recreate that. But he's tightening up. Your voice does something. It goes up a quarter step, a pitch, right? And it unlocks something inside my ear, my head, that connects right to my heart, that connects right to my tear ducts. He's tightening up. It is, for me, the impossible becoming possible in 3 words. He's tightening up. And it is, for me, what unlocks something. And then there's another phrase, which I really didn't, this one I didn't really peg until you just did it. He did it, he did it. I think that's some of the empathy and compassion you were talking about. But he's tightening up. What happened inside you that you knew it? You alluded to he's riding the wave, right? So that there's a swimming analysis I want you to give to me for a second. But but was there a biological, like, you catch your breath and now your voice is going higher, and now you're doing a call. I just asked you 7 questions at once based on one.
No,
But
it's fine.
How did it occur to you?
I felt it at about 75 because I could see the tempo starting to scramble with Alain Bernard. I won't get too technical because it's swimming terms, but I could see Bernard's stroke starting to really waver a little bit. And Jason literally rode that wave. And when I'm talking about a wave, it's not so much physical because those lane lines now that they put between the swimmers, the lane markers in layman's terms, are eat waves, man. So when the swimmer comes out and produces like a surf behind them, the swimmer next to him doesn't really ride the wave physically too much anymore, but mentally, that's where you feel like you're literally riding the surf of the guy behind you. And that's what he did.
He's body surfing.
He's body surfing the first 75. So how does
Bernard not know that?
Yeah. He's literally, that's a good way to put it, Tony. He's body surfing that first 25. So then he just takes that surf and he starts to go downhill with it. So he starts to swim downhill and Bernard starts to swim uphill. And that was the moment I thought, I still had my doubts, but I thought, holy crap, now he's got a chance. You never know. I mean, he won by, what was it, 7/100ths of a second or something like that?
Percent, 0.08, yeah, 0.008.
0.08.
Yeah.
So think about 0.08 seconds. He still won 100th of a second, Tony. Traveling at that speed, 1/100th of a second is half of a little fingernail. So if you look at your fingernail, take half of that, that's 100th of a second. So if you're talking 4 fingernails, that's 8/100ths of a second. That's your little finger. That's how much he won by. So
I bite my fingernails, so I'm not really
it wasn't like anybody knew that he was going to still do it. It was that close all the way to the end. But boy, when you felt Bernard start to scramble, and that thing where you told me about the stroke count, I mean, I didn't know that, and
how is that even? That's 10% more work. right? I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
no
viewing it like
question.
this: a stroke is just more work. Is that what it is, or
Yeah.
is there? Wow. I mean,
No, yeah,
that's
no question about it. The more strokes you take, the more energy you're expending. Think about it. If you take 30 strokes for a 25 freestyle and you take 28 strokes for a 25 freestyle, which is going to expend more energy? Obviously, the one that's taken 30, right? So if you can maintain tempo without slipping in the water,
yeah.
that's the key. Again, I'm getting way too mechanical, but that's where my point is that's where Bernard lost it. He started scrambling and he wasn't catching water. He was just slipping in the water. He was just spinning his wheels.
An alternate timeline question: if Phelps is not going for 8, if Phelps maybe he already missed out on a medal in one of the first 2 races, or just that was never even in the storyline for these games, and this comeback happens. Are you feeling the same way calling that race? Or is it?
No. I mean, I'm just like everybody else. You like to see perfection. When that perfection doesn't happen, then it does take the edge off of everything. And that happened in Athens.
Uh-huh.
Once he lost that 200 free, or was it 400 free relay? I can't remember which one came first. But once he, I don't want to say fail because that's absolute wrong word. But once he didn't achieve that perfection in '04, yeah, it took a little bit of the edge off um, of everybody. I
Right.
think of the people watching at home. So and I think very few people know that Michael was such an integral part of that relay. He led off in an American record
Yeah.
in the 100 free. I mean, he was unbelievable in leading off. And the other 2 guys, I mean, Colin Jones, first African American in history to break a world record. When he broke that world record, Tony, still stands. 18 years later, it's the oldest world record on the books. It's still on the books as the world record. And France still has the second fastest time in history.
46:06 holds up will hold up as a great, as great a relay as you could possibly do, everything considered. One more alternate timeline, or at least thinking about it. You said he did it, and Dan said he did it, or they did it. US did it. Dan's next
Yeah.
word there got to Phelps. They did it. Phelps's hopes are alive. When you said he did it, are you talking about Lezak? Or are you talking about Phelps?
I'm talking about Lezak.
Yeah, that's what I sensed.
I wasn't even thinking Phelps.
That's what I sensed too.
I literally was zoned in on Lezak. And again, this is why Dan is the best that there ever has been.
The story was a couple things, so you had to establish both. But please go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, no, and I'm biased, obviously, but Dan had the wherewithal to be able to say keeps Phelps' hopes alive. He brought Phelps back into it. I was so zoned in on Jason, and he created the big picture, which was desperately needed.
The camera found Phelps immediately, and what you got was just some all-time great celebration moments. Yeah.
Tony, they still give me grief. In fact, I just got a text from Jason before I knew I was going to be on with you. This was, I don't know, about a week or 2 ago. And I never said anything to Jason, but he goes, Salo, was a coach, is announcing at my kids' meet. It reminds me of this line I will never be able to take out of my head. I just don't think he can do it, Dan. And I wrote back and I put the laughing emoji and I go, that will be on my tombstone.
Oh boy, I'm sorry. And I just made you recreate that, and now he's well, Jason, I think I started this show saying I think it's the greatest teammate moment in history, in sports history. Does that make sense? I had a top 10 list where I was just throwing them at. I was working through it, but some of the examples were Grant Hill made the pass to Christian Laettner, right? Christian Laettner's shot lives in forever. Grant Hill's pass got a lot of play, but still that pass, something about it. That's the team. The Red Sox beat the Yankees, but they had to come back from the death's door, and they were about to be
Yes.
swept. And for that to
Yes.
happen, there was a hit, but before the hit, there was a hit. Before the hit, there was a walk,
Yeah.
a stolen base. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Ray Allen hit a great shot, but there was an offensive rebound before that. You know, Reggie Bush.
Yeah.
But for me, even in the sport that is the least team sport that
Right.
do you believe this is the greatest teammate effort ever made by someone? Lezak to Phelps.
Yeah. Again, I look at it through a rose-colored lens too, as you said, Tony. But I think Jason, again, if you put it all together, and I mean, just little things that people will never know. You know, Colin Jones made that relay by 1/100th of a second. He had to swim in the morning to qualify for the relay at night. The only people on the relay at night were Jason and Michael and Garrett. So 4 swimmers swam for 1 spot in the morning, and Colin beat Nathan Adrian, one of the greatest American freestylers, if not greatest in history, by 1/100th of a second to put himself on that relay. So there's just so much to the story that if you're not a swimming fan, you would become one for this race. I get it that swimming gets kind of shoved back in the closet every 4 years. I understand it. That's the way it's always going to be. But I do believe that the American public loves the Olympic Games, and they love pulling for these kids. And then basically that's what most of them are. They're just kids.
Well, I love this moment. I love pulling for this video or this image to send to people when they need to celebrate. I love pulling for this video when I need to cry. I love this because of the teammates that it took to do it. I love that somebody was, Jason Lezak got his medal. He has 8 career medals, and he had an incredible ability to show perseverance and to get back to the top through his games and his history in the games, and that's wonderful for him. So he certainly earned everything, and this moment still becomes a little bit about Phelps, but it's still about him. He was able to claim it, and I appreciate that too. And I appreciate you for being here so much, Rowdy.
Thank you, Tony.
We give gifts on this show. You won't like it. You won't like it. But here's what this gift is, and whether it will be similar to what Jason just sent you via text. So I have my phone here. This is very, very important for me. My phone is, I'm not sure if you know the movie Goodfellas. It's a picture of Ray.
Yeah.
It's a picture of Ray Liotta.
God rest his soul.
But okay. But this is how I look at this, and it makes me happy. So I'm hoping when I send people gifts, they look at it, they make me happy. So our gift to you is, well, I told you how important this image was of our man Michael Phelps celebrating. Our gift to you is a phone case cover of Michael Phelps celebrating. But if you look at the face there, that is our Rowdy Cam face of our man with the headset. So you will be receiving this very shortly, but this is how I want you to remember this moment. Because for me, this image we started with was about Phelps. But for me, the image wasn't about Phelps, it was about Lezak. But the image wasn't just about Lezak, it was about Rowdy. And how you were able to impart spirit, and what you said. There was empathy, and there was he did it to that call that stays with me, and it is instant tears. You hit the button, instant tears. Rowdy, you have been a wonderful guest. I have wanted to talk to you for many, many years. We have, I want to be friends with you, Rowdy. This is what it comes down to. I've only got a show to try to recruit more friends. That's why I have a show.
Tony, I can't imagine a better friend to get to know.
Rowdy, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Rowdy Gaines here on the program. All right.
Take care, buddy.
My man. Okay. Woo! How was that? Man, I have a friend. Come on. Are we not going to be good friends, right? I just made friends with Rowdy Gaines. They have no idea what's happening. I don't know what to say, you know? This is everything I want this show to be, is what I want to say. Because this was my first episode for a reason. It's personal to me. This is the #1 video. It makes no sense. I don't swim. It makes 0 sense. And it makes me cry every time. Teammates, first off. Let's start here. Teammates. I had the list, the top 10 top 5, what was it? Sports teammate list, right? And I was wondering if the conversation was going to change my mind. You know, was Rowdy going to say something? You know, they really aren't teammates in the pool. That's what I was maybe leaving doubt for. And the way they compete with each other to get onto the relay team is also an odd thing, right? That's not a teammate. They're competing with each other. But this just solidified for me. This is the number one teammate moment for me in sports, in my viewing history. Please hit me in the mentions. Tell me I'm forgetting one. I made this list when I was on the subway coming over here. I mean, it has too much in it, right? It has the magnitude of it ending with a gold medal. It has the uber magnitude of it ending with Phelps getting to 8 gold medals. It has one of the greatest celebrations of all time. It has one of the greatest comebacks of all time. On the clock to run 46.06 or swim 46.06, you know, that is untouchable. It's an untouchable number in swimming. So you have all these exceptional levels here to prove it was the height of sport. And then you have a call on top of that demonstrates teammates, because it's not just Lezak's a teammate of Phelps and Phelps is a teammate of Lezak. It's that Rowdy is a teammate of Dan Hicks, and together they put together one of the greatest calls of all time. Man, I don't know. I'm just, I feel like I need some sommelier water after that to really take it in. One of the things we do on this show is we end every show with the real 1 minute. And we're going to go out here like we walked in here, all right? So let's say hello to Ray Liotta one more time. And let's take this one for a walk here. Let me see how I walk here. This is my bag, all right? Why does this moment break me open more than any other sports moment? I think I know why now. And it's not because the picture. It's because a voice changes in real time, changing certainty into doubt. And doubt then becomes belief. And then belief becomes joy. Thank you very much, guys. See you later. The United States was counted out. Lezak was counted out. Even Rowdy, who had spent his whole life in the pool, didn't think it was possible. And all at once, it was happening. But I think the real reason why I've carried this for 20 years is simpler than that. Lezak was not just a passenger in Michael Phelps' story. He was an Olympian. He had heartache, had loss, recovered. He earned his moment. He wasn't just swimming for himself. If you went back and read some of the stories afterwards, Lezak was beautifully poetic, talking about how he was doing it for his country. But on his back even more was Michael Phelps' impossible dream. I told you one of the best things anyone ever said to me was, if you want to feel better about yourself, do something for other people. But I didn't tell you why that was said to me. I was going through a moment in my life where I was learning I was an anxious person, and more specifically, dealing with generalized anxiety disorder, right? So they told me, you want to feel better about yourself, do something for other people with that as the focus. Get out of your own head for a while, Tony, right? Be there for somebody else. I'm not saying that's the answer for everybody, but it's been a part of an answer for me. And it actually happens to be a key element of my career, hosting, right? You're doing something for the other people on the show. And to be honest, it's a key element for my real job, my real purpose in life, parenting. The purpose is about my children, to carry them, to lift them, to watch them, to witness them, to celebrate them. So when I hear Rowdy yell, he did it, he did it, I don't hear swimming. I hear the kind of person I want to be. Somebody who could lift other people up in their moment. Somebody who could witness and celebrate somebody in their moment. Someone who appreciates people's joy when they do the impossible. Because when I hear that, I feel something in me, in a wonderful way, tightening up. And that's your real 1 minute. Did I hit the time? Oh, not even close. See you, Nora.